The Dreamy Journey of Mama Cat and Her Kittens. Introduction. In a quiet, serene forest, there lived a gentle Mama Cat and her three playful kittens. They lived in a small, cozy cottage surrounded by towering trees, colorful flowers, and sparkling streams. It was a peaceful life, filled with the love of family and the beauty of nature. But Mama Cat had always heard stories of a magical waterfall deep within the Foresta waterfall that was said to have the power to grant peace and tranquility to those who found it. One day, as the kittens played by the creek, Mama Cat decided it was time for them to go on an adventure. She knew the journey would be long and full of challenges, but she also knew it would be worth it. "Mama," said the smallest kitten, looking up with wide, curious eyes, "where are we going?" "We're going to find the Dreamy Waterfall," Mama Cat replied with a soft smile. "It's said to be the most beautiful place in the forest. It will bring us peace and maybe even show us something we've never seen before." The kittens meowed excitedly, tails flicking with anticipation. They had heard of this waterfall in stories told by their elders, but no one had ever ventured far enough to find it. Today, however, Mama Cat would lead them on an adventure that would change their lives forever. The journey begins. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the sunlight filtered through the thick canopy of trees, casting soft shadows on the forest floor. The air was fresh and sweet, with the scent of pine and wildflowers. The kittens scampered around, chasing butterflies and hopping over rocks, their laughter echoing through the trees. "Stay close, little ones," Mama Cat called, her voice warm and reassuring. "The forest is full of wonders, but it can also be tricky. We must stay together." The kittens nodded and followed Mama Cat as she led them along the winding path. The journey was peaceful at first, with only the sound of birds singing overhead and the occasional rustle of leaves beneath their paws. But as they traveled further into the forest, the air grew cooler and the trees became denser. The path became less clear, with thick vines and underbrush slowing their progress. Mama Cat pushed forward with determination, knowing that the waterfall was just ahead. The kittens, though tired, followed her every step of the way, their hearts filled with excitement. The first challenge, crossing the stream. After a long day of walking, the family came upon a rushing stream that blocked their path. The water was fast and deep, and there was no bridge in sight. The kittens looked nervously at the water, their eyes wide with fear. "We have to cross this stream to continue," Mama Cat said gently, "but we must do it carefully. Watch me, little ones." Mama Cat stepped into the water, her paws sinking into the cool, clear stream. The kittens followed her one by one, trembling slightly as the cold water splashed around their paws. With Mama Cat's guidance, they carefully made their way across the stream, each kitten finding their footing on the slippery rocks beneath the water. Once they were safely on the other side, Mama Cat paused to check on her little ones. They were wet but unharmed, and their faces were filled with wonder. "See, we did it together," Mama Cat said with a proud smile. "Now we can continue on our journey." The magic of the forest. As they continued their journey, the forest began to change. The trees grew taller, and the leaves shimmered in the soft light of the setting sun. Strange, glowing flowers appeared along the path, casting an ethereal glow on the ground. The air was filled with a sweet fragrance, and the sound of distant music seemed to echo through the forest. Mama Cat paused, her ears twitching. "Do you hear that?" she whispered. "It's the sound of the forest welcoming us." The kittens looked around in awe. They had never seen anything like this before. The forest, though familiar, now felt like a magical place, full of hidden wonders and secrets waiting to be discovered. "Let's keep going," Mama Cat said. "We're getting closer to the Dreamy Waterfall." The unexpected encounter. Just as they rounded a bend in the path, they came face to face with a large, mysterious creature. It was a majestic fox, with bright amber eyes and a coat that shimmered like the stars in the night sky. The fox stood tall, watching them carefully as they approached. "Who goes there?" the fox asked, its voice smooth and calm. Mama Cat stepped forward, her voice steady and kind. "We are travelers, on our way to find the Dreamy Waterfall." The fox tilted its head, as if considering their words. "Many have sought the Dreamy Waterfall," the fox said, "but only those with pure hearts and true intentions are allowed to find it." Mama Cat nodded. We come in peace, seeking only the beauty and peace of the waterfall. The fox studied them for a moment longer before stepping aside. Then you may pass, it said. But be warned, the journey ahead will test you. You must remain brave and stay true to each other. With that, the fox vanished into the forest, leaving behind only a faint shimmer in the air. Mama Cat and her kittens continued on their path, their spirits lifted by the fox's blessing. Part 2. The Mysterious Fog and the Hidden Path. The forest grows stranger. As Mama Cat and her kittens continued their journey, the forest around them began to feel even more mysterious. The trees grew closer together, their branches intertwining to form a thick canopy overhead. The sunlight barely filtered through the leaves now, leaving the forest floor dim and cool. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and the distant sound of water flowing. It's getting darker, Mama, said one of the kittens, looking around nervously. I can't see as well as before. Mama Cat stopped walking and turned to her kittens. It's okay, little ones, she said in a calming voice. The forest is always changing, but as long as we stay together, we'll be fine. She led them forward, her eyes scanning the path ahead. The journey had already been long, and the kittens were starting to tire, but Mama Cat's determination kept her moving. She could feel the Dreamy Waterfall was close, and she knew that it was worth every step. The fog appears. Suddenly, a thick mist began to creep up from the ground, swirling around their paws like a soft cloud. The kittens meowed in surprise, their eyes widening as the fog grew thicker with every passing moment. The world around them became a blur of gray, and they could no longer see the path ahead. Mama, what's happening? One of the kittens asked, their voice trembling. This is the forest magic, Mama Cat said softly, her voice steady despite the eerie fog. It is testing us. We must trust our instincts to guide us now. How do we know which way to go? Another kitten asked. Mama Cat thought for a moment, then lowered her head, sniffing the air. She could smell the faint scent of water, the very same scent that had led them through the forest to this point. Follow me, little ones. Stay close to me, and we will find our way. The hidden path. Despite the dense fog, Mama Cat moved confidently forward. She knew that the path to the Dreamy Waterfall would reveal itself when the time was right. The kittens followed, one step at a time, trusting Mama Cat to guide them through the mysterious mist. As they walked, the fog began to shift, slowly clearing around them. In the distance, they could hear the soft sound of rushing water, like a melody that called them forward. The fog parted just enough for them to see a narrow, winding path that had been hidden beneath the mist. This must be the way, Mama Cat whispered, her heart racing with excitement. We're almost there. The kittens, now full of energy again, dashed ahead, their paws tapping on the ground as they followed the path that led them through the fog. The forest, once dark and mysterious, now seemed to welcome them, with the faintest glow lighting the way. The River of Reflections. Soon, they came to a wide river, its waters sparkling like a field of stars under the moonlight. The river seemed to stretch on forever, and the current flowed swiftly. Mama Cat stopped at the edge of the water, her eyes scanning the scene. The river was beautiful, but crossing it would not be easy. We can't swim across this, Mama Cat murmured, but we must find a way to continue. The waterfall is just beyond this river. The kittens looked at the water with wide eyes, unsure of how they would make it to the other side. But Mama Cat was not deterred. She gazed around, searching for a solution. As she looked closely at the river, she noticed that the water reflected the stars above, creating a shimmering path of light across the surface. This is the River of Reflections, Mama Cat said with a smile. It will help us cross, but we must trust the reflections we see. Mama Cat stepped into the river, her paws making gentle ripples on the surface. The kittens followed her, stepping carefully onto the glowing stones that floated along the water's surface. The river's current tried to pull them, but the shimmering stones kept them steady, guiding them across. With each step, the kittens grew more confident, their fear fading as they followed Mama Cat's lead. The water sparkled around them, and for a brief moment, it felt as if they were walking through a dream. The waterfall is close. After crossing the river, Mama Cat and her kittens found themselves on the other side, standing at the edge of a dense thicket. The air was filled with the sound of rushing water and the scent of fresh pine and mist. The Dreamy Waterfall was near, just beyond the thicket. We're almost there, Mama Cat said, her voice full of hope. Just a little further, and we will find the peace we've been searching for. The kittens looked up at Mama Cat, their faces filled with awe. They had come so far, and now they were on the brink of discovering the magical place that had been spoken of for generations. As they stepped forward, the trees parted, revealing a breathtaking sight, a large, sparkling waterfall, cascading down from the cliffs above, its waters glowing in the soft light of the setting sun. "This is it," Mama Cat whispered. "The Dreamy Waterfall." Part 3. The Enchanted Waters and the Heart's Test. The Dreamy Waterfall. As Mama Cat and her kittens approached the Dreamy Waterfall, they were awestruck by its beauty. The water shimmered as it cascaded down the rocks, sparkling like diamonds in the soft golden light of the sunset. The sound of the water was like a soft lullaby, peaceful and soothing, making everything around them feel calm and serene. Mama Cat smiled at her kittens. "This is the place," she said softly. "The Dreamy Waterfall is more beautiful than I ever imagined." The kittens stood in awe, their little faces illuminated by the gentle light of the waterfall. They had come so far, and now they were standing at the very heart of the forest magic. "Can we get closer, Mama?" asked the smallest kitten, his voice filled with wonder. "Yes," Mama Cat replied, "but we must be careful. The waterfall holds ancient magic, and it is said that only those with pure hearts can approach it." The kittens nodded and followed their mother, each of them stepping closer to the waterfall with a sense of awe and reverence. The closer they got, the more they felt a strange energy in the air, soft warmth that seemed to embrace them, filling them with peace and comfort. The Enchanted Waters. As Mama Cat and her kittens stepped closer to the base of the waterfall, the water began to glow even brighter, casting a soft light on everything around them. It was as though the water itself had come alive, its sparkling droplets dancing in the air like tiny stars. The kittens reached out with their paws, mesmerized by the glow of the water. It was unlike anything they had ever seen before, so pure, so enchanting. It felt as though the waterfall held the answers to all the questions they had ever asked, as if it was a place where all things could be made right. Mama Cat watched her kittens closely, her heart full of love. "This is the magic of the Dreamy Waterfall," she said. "It brings peace, but it also asks something of us." "Something from us?" asked one of the kittens, looking up at her curiously. "Yes," Mama Cat replied. "The waterfall tests the hearts of those who seek it. It shows us what we need to see, but it also asks us to be honest with ourselves. We must be brave and true." The Heart's Test. As the kittens stepped closer, the water began to ripple, and the ground beneath them seemed to shift. A soft, melodic voice echoed from the waterfall, filling the air around them. It was not a voice they could hear with their ears, but one they could feel deep within their hearts. "Who comes to the Dreamy Waterfall?" the voice asked. Mama Cat stepped forward and answered softly, "We come seeking peace, seeking the beauty of the forest and the wisdom it holds." The voice responded, its tone gentle yet firm. "Peace can be found here, but only if your hearts are pure. You must face the truth within yourselves before you may pass. Only then can the magic of the waterfall be yours." Mama Cat's heart fluttered in her chest, but she remained calm. "We are ready," she said, looking at her kittens. "We are ready to face whatever comes." The voice spoke again. "Then let your hearts be tested." The test of courage. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled. The water in the waterfall swirled, forming into shapes and patterns that seemed to move with purpose. It was as though the very essence of the waterfall was coming alive, testing their courage. The kittens looked at each other, their eyes wide with uncertainty. "What do we do, Mama?" asked the smallest kitten, his voice shaking. Mama Cat smiled gently, her eyes filled with reassurance. "We face whatever comes together. This is a test of courage. We must be brave, not just for ourselves, but for each other." As she spoke, the water parted before them, revealing a path that led deeper into the heart of the waterfall. The path was bathed in soft, glowing light, and at the end, they could see a small clearing where a single golden flower bloomed. "That is the heart of the Dreamy Waterfall," Mama Cat said softly. "It holds the peace we seek." The kittens, though nervous, followed Mama Cat as she stepped onto the path. The water closed behind them, and the path seemed to stretch on endlessly. But they walked together, each kitten taking their first steps with courage, knowing that they were not alone. The test of love. As they reached the clearing, the golden flower glowed brighter, casting a warm, comforting light around them. But as they approached, the flower began to shimmer and pulse, as if it were alive. Suddenly, the voice from the waterfall spoke again. "You have come far, but now you must prove your love for one another," the voice said. "What is the truest form of love you can offer?" Mama Cat looked down at her kittens, her heart full of warmth. Love is about caring for each other, even when the road is difficult. It's about protecting one another, sharing in each other's joy, and lifting each other up in times of need. The kittens looked at each other, their faces soft with understanding. "We love each other," one of them said. "We'll always be together." As they spoke, the golden flower glowed even brighter, and the light surrounding them grew warmer, like the embrace of the sun. The Dreamy Waterfall's blessing. With the test complete, the water calmed, and the magical energy of the Dreamy Waterfall seemed to settle around them, enveloping them in peace. The kittens smiled, their hearts light, knowing they had passed the test of courage and love. "Your hearts are pure," the voice said softly. "The magic of the Dreamy Waterfall is yours. May it bring you peace and strength on your journey ahead." Mama Cat smiled at her kittens, her heart swelling with pride. "We have found what we came for," she said softly. "Peace, love, and the magic of the forest. And most importantly, we have found each other." Part 4. The Secret of the Golden Flower. The Blessing of the Waterfall. As Mama Cat and her kittens stood in the clearing, bathed in the soft light from the golden flower, they felt a deep sense of peace wash over them. The air was warm and comforting, like the embrace of a loving parent. The Dreamy Waterfall had granted them its blessing, and the kittens could feel it within their hearts. They had passed the test of courage and love, and now they were ready to move forward with the strength and serenity that the waterfall had given them. Mama Cat looked at her little ones, their faces glowing with happiness. "We found what we came for," she said softly. "Peace, strength, and a reminder of how much we need each other." The kittens purred softly, their small bodies vibrating with contentment. "But Mama," asked the smallest kitten, his voice full of curiosity, "what does the golden flower mean? Why is it so special?" Mama Cat smiled and sat down beside her kittens, her tail curling around them for warmth. "The golden flower is a symbol of the magic of the forest. It represents love, peace, and harmony, everything the forest stands for. It is said that whoever touches the flower with an open heart will receive the blessing of the forest. And now we have been chosen." The kitten stared at the golden flower, its petals glowing brightly in the dim light. It was as though the flower held the very essence of the forest magic within it. Mama Cat felt a surge of gratitude for this beautiful place and the journey that had brought them here. A hidden message. As the family sat in the clearing, a soft breeze stirred the air, causing the petals of the golden flower to shimmer even more. It was then that they noticed something strange. The flower began to change, its petals folding inward like the pages of a book. A faint glow appeared at the center of the flower, and from within, a small, glowing symbol emerged. It was a heart, surrounded by intricate vines and stars. Mama Cat leaned forward, her eyes narrowing with curiosity. "What is this?" she whispered. The symbol hovered in the air, glowing softly, and a new voice unlike the one from the waterfall spoke, its tone gentle but filled with wisdom. "You have found the Dreamy Waterfall's blessing," the voice said, "but now you must understand its true purpose. The magic you have received is not only for peace, it is for the heart of the forest. The forest needs you to protect it, just as you have protected each other." The kittens looked around in confusion. "Protect the forest?" asked one of them. "But how can we do that? We're just small kittens." The voice replied softly, "You are not just kittens. You are part of the forest, part of the magic that keeps it alive. The forest grows through your love and care. You must share this love with others, protect the beauty of nature, and help the creatures of the forest when they need you. Only then can the forest remain in balance." Mama Cat nodded, her heart filled with understanding. "We will protect the forest," she said. "We will share the love we found here with everyone we meet." The golden flower's glow softened, and the symbol faded, leaving only the warm light of the setting sun. Mama Cat and her kittens were now entrusted with the forest's most precious secret, the responsibility to safeguard its magic. A new purpose. As the family left the clearing, the Dreamy Waterfall's peaceful energy remained with them. The air felt lighter, and the forest seemed to embrace them even more warmly. The sound of the waterfall echoed in the distance, as if it were bidding them farewell with a promise to return whenever they needed its peace. "We have a new purpose now," Mama Cat said as she looked at her kittens. "We will share the magic of the forest with others, just as the waterfall shared it with us. Together, we will protect the beauty of nature and spread love wherever we go." The kittens nodded, their hearts full of excitement and determination. They had learned so much on their journey about courage, love, and the importance of protecting what was precious. Now, they knew their true mission: to help the forest remain a place of peace and magic for generations to come. "Let's start by finding the creatures who need our help," one of the kittens suggested eagerly. "We can make the forest even more beautiful." Mama Cat smiled proudly. "Yes, little one. Together, we will make the world a better place, one step at a time." The return journey? As the family made their way back through the forest, they found that the path was easier now. The trees seemed to part for them, and the animals of the forest greeted them warmly. The birds sang more sweetly, and the flowers bloomed brighter in their wake. It was as though the forest itself was welcoming them back, grateful for the promise they had made to protect it. As they walked, they encountered a group of birds that were struggling to find food. The kittens immediately began to help, using their paws to gather seeds and berries from the forest floor. Mama Cat watched them with pride, knowing that they were already beginning to fulfill their mission. "We will help everyone we can," she said softly, "and we will always remember the magic of the Dreamy Waterfall." A promise to the forest. As they approached the edge of the forest, the last rays of the setting sun bathed the land in golden light. The Dreamy Waterfall was now a distant memory, but its magic lived on in their hearts. "Thank you, Mama," said the smallest kitten, looking up at her with gratitude. "We've learned so much and we're ready to help." Mama Cat smiled and nuzzled her kittens, her heart full of love. "The forest will always be with us, little ones. As long as we stay true to the love we found, we will always have the strength to protect it." Together, Mama Cat and her kittens walked into the horizon, ready for the next chapter of their adventure. The magic of the Dreamy Waterfall had changed them, and now they were ready to share that magic with the world. Part 5. Guardians of the Forest. A new day, a new beginning. The sun was rising on a new day, and the forest seemed to glow with the first light of dawn. Mama Cat and her kitten stood at the edge of the forest, gazing out at the vast, lush land before them. The air was fresh, and the forest was alive with the sounds of morning birds chirping, leaves rustling, and the soft hum of life all around. Mama Cat's heart swelled with pride as she looked at her kittens. They had come so far, from the small, cozy cottage they had once called home to the magical, dreamy waterfall. Their journey had brought them closer together and had given them a greater understanding of the importance of protecting the world around them. "Today, we start our new journey," Mama Cat said softly. "We will keep our promise to the forest, and we will protect it with all our hearts." The kittens, now full of determination and courage, nodded eagerly. They were ready to take on their new role as guardians of the forest, to share the love and peace they had found with every creature they met. Helping the forest creatures. As they walked deeper into the forest, the kittens noticed the animals around them were living in harmony. The birds were building nests, the squirrels were gathering nuts, and the flowers bloomed in vibrant colors. But not everything was perfect. There were still small struggles among the creatures, challenges that required the care and attention of Mama Cat and her kittens. Soon they came across a family of rabbits, their fur ruffled with worry. The mother rabbit sat anxiously by a patch of wilted plants, her eyes full of concern. "Is everything all right, dear rabbit?" Mama Cat asked, her voice full of warmth. The mother rabbit looked up, her ears drooping. "My family relies on these plants for food, but they have withered. I don't know what to do. I can't feed my babies, and I don't know if I can save them." Mama Cat crouched down beside the rabbit. "Don't worry," she said gently. "We can help." The kittens immediately sprang into action. One of them carefully dug around the base of the wilted plants. while another gathered nearby leaves and flowers, gently placing them around the plants. Mama Cat guided them, her calm presence bringing a sense of reassurance to the worried rabbit. "It's not just about saving these plants," Mama Cat explained. "The forest thrives on balance. We must nurture and care for it, and in turn, it will care for us." As the kittens worked together, the plants began to show signs of life. Slowly, their leaves perked up, and the flowers bloomed once more. The rabbits looked on in amazement, their hearts lightening with hope. "Thank you, Mama Cat," the mother rabbit said gratefully. "You've saved my family. We will never forget your kindness." Mama Cat smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "The forest is our family too," she said. "We must all take care of each other." A growing bond. As the day went on, Mama Cat and her kittens helped other animals in the forest. They tended to a nest of baby birds who had fallen from their tree, guided a lost deer back to its family, and even helped a fox find shelter from the rain. With each act of kindness, the bond between Mama Cat, her kittens, and the creatures of the forest grew stronger. The kittens were learning the true meaning of guardianship, not just protecting the forest, but nurturing and caring for it with love and compassion. "You see," Mama Cat said as they rested by the creek that evening, "the true magic of the Dreamy Waterfall is not in the blessings it gave us, but in how we choose to use that magic to help others. Every creature in this forest is connected, and it is our duty to ensure that connection remains strong." The kittens nodded, their eyes full of understanding. They had learned so much from Mama Cat's wisdom and kindness, and they were eager to continue their work as guardians of the forest. The call of the moon. As night fell, the moon rose high above the forest, casting a soft silver light on the land. The forest, now calm and peaceful, seemed to hum with quiet energy. Mama Cat and her kittens gathered by the creek, their tails curled around them for warmth. "Tomorrow we will continue our journey," Mama Cat said, her voice filled with purpose. "There is always more to do, always more to learn. But we must never forget that the forest is not just a place, it is a living, breathing entity that depends on our love and care." As the moonlight bathed them in its gentle glow, the kittens curled up beside Mama Cat, their hearts full of peace and contentment. They had found their purpose, and they knew that their journey was just beginning. "You're the best, Mama," one of the kittens whispered softly, nuzzling her gently. Mama Cat smiled and hugged them close. "And you're my greatest treasure," she said, her voice full of love. "Together, we will always protect this forest, and together, we will always be a family." The forest around them seemed to echo her words, a soft breeze rustling the leaves above. In that moment, Mama Cat knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together with love and courage in their hearts. Part 6. The Challenge of the Darkened Grove. A quiet night. The forest was peaceful under the moonlight, with soft whispers of the wind and the distant sounds of crickets chirping. Mama Cat and her kittens had settled near the creek after a day of helping the creatures of the forest. They lay on the soft moss, their tails curled around them for warmth, as they drifted into a deep, restful sleep. The air was crisp, the trees swayed gently, and the stars twinkled above, filling the night with a calm, soothing energy. But even in the quiet of the night, Mama Cat felt a subtle shift in the air, a faint, unsettling chill that made the fur on the back of her neck stand up. She had been in the forest long enough to sense when something was wrong. The tranquility of the night was, for some reason, different tonight. The disappearance of light. The next morning, as the first light of dawn began to spread across the forest, Mama Cat woke up with a sense of urgency. She stood, stretching her limbs, and looked toward the deeper parts of the forest, where a place known as the Darkened Grove lay. The grove had always been a mysterious and ancient part of the forest, where the trees grew so tall and thick that sunlight barely touched the forest floor. It was a place of quiet solitude, but something about it felt different now. "Mama, where are we going?" asked the smallest kitten, who had just woken up and noticed the serious expression on Mama Cat's face. "We're going to the Darkened Grove," Mama Cat replied softly. "Something doesn't feel right. I sense that the balance of the forest has been disturbed." The kittens, though a little apprehensive, followed Mama Cat. They knew their mother's instincts were always sharp, and if she felt something was wrong, they trusted her completely. The grove's disturbance. As they journeyed deeper into the forest, the atmosphere changed. The usual harmony that surrounded the forest seemed to fade away. The air grew colder, and the sounds of the forest grew quieter. No birds chirped, no leaves rustled. It was as if the forest itself had fallen silent, holding its breath. When they finally reached the darkened grove, Mama Cat's heart sank. The trees, once towering and majestic, now seemed to be hunched. Their leaves withered and their bark darkened as though they were sick. The once bright and vibrant flora had faded into dull, lifeless shades of gray and brown. The whole grove seemed to exude a sense of sadness, an unnatural stillness hanging in the air. "Mama, what happened here?" one of the kittens asked, looking up at the darkened trees with wide, frightened eyes. "I'm not sure," Mama Cat whispered, her voice heavy with concern. "But something is draining the life from this part of the forest. We need to find out what's causing this disturbance and restore the balance." The hidden threat. As Mama Cat and her kittens walked deeper into the grove, they noticed something strange. The further they went, the more the ground felt unstable beneath their paws, as if something was slowly poisoning the earth. The trees were no longer alive with energy. Their branches sagged as though weighed down by an unseen force. "Stay close," Mama Cat warned, her voice low and cautious. "I feel something here. We need to be careful." Suddenly, the air grew even colder, and a dark shadow loomed from behind the trees. It was a figure, tall and cloaked in darkness, with glowing red eyes that seemed to pierce through the gloom. The figure did not move, but its presence was chilling, as though it was watching them, waiting for the right moment to strike. Mama Cat stood still, her instincts on high alert. "Who are you?" she called out, her voice steady despite the fear creeping into her heart. The figure did not answer, but the darkness around them seemed to grow thicker, the shadows wrapping around the trees like tendrils. The forest felt suffocated, and the kittens shivered with unease. "You dare enter the darkened grove?" The figure finally spoke, its voice like a cold breeze. "This place is no longer yours to protect. The forest is mine now, and it will wither under my rule." Mama Cat narrowed her eyes. "Number, this forest belongs to all of us. We protect it, not destroy it." The figure laughed darkly. "You cannot stop me. The forest will fall under my power. Its life will drain, and I will be its ruler." The battle for the forest. The figure stepped forward, its form becoming more tangible as it loomed over Mama Cat and her kittens. A wave of darkness surged from it, threatening to swallow everything in its path. But Mama Cat stood firm, her tail bristling with defiance. The kittens huddled close to her, their tiny bodies trembling but their spirits unwavering. "No," Mama Cat said firmly, "we will not let you destroy our home." With a swift movement, Mama Cat stepped forward, her eyes glowing with the light of the Dreamy Waterfall's blessing. The magic of the waterfall that had filled her heart now surged through her, and she called upon its strength. "By the power of the Dreamy Waterfall, I command you to leave this forest," she cried. A brilliant light burst from Mama Cat, surrounding her and her kittens in a protective aura. The dark figure recoiled as the light touched it, its form flickering and wavering like smoke in the wind. The power of the forest, the strength of love and protection, clashed with the figure's darkness. "You cannot win," the figure hissed, but his voice trembled as the light grew brighter, pushing it back. But Mama Cat knew that the figure's power came from the darkness that had taken hold of the grove. The source of this evil had to be stopped if they were to save the forest. With one final burst of energy, Mama Cat summoned all of the magic of the Dreamy Waterfall, and the dark figure was engulfed in a burst of light. The darkness retreated, and with it, the oppressive air of the darkened grove began to lift. The shadows faded, and the trees slowly began to regain their color. The grove, though still recovering, started to breathe once again. The forest restored. As the light faded, Mama Cat stood tall, her body trembling with exhaustion but her heart filled with relief. The figure had disappeared, its darkness banished from the forest. The grove, though still damaged, was beginning to heal. "We've done it," Mama Cat said softly, looking at her kittens. "The forest is safe once again." The kittens looked around, their eyes wide with wonder. "But Mama, how do we make sure this never happens again?" the smallest kitten asked. Mama Cat smiled and gently nuzzled her little one. "By staying true to the forest, by protecting it with love and courage, we can ensure that nothing like this ever happens again. We are its guardians, and together, we will keep it safe. The trees in the darkened grove began to bloom once more, their branches reaching toward the sky. The flowers returned, vibrant and alive, and the birds once again filled the air with their songs. The forest was whole again. A new beginning. As Mama Cat and her kittens walked back through the grove, the air was once again filled with the sounds of life. The forest was safe, and its magic was restored. This is just the beginning, Mama Cat said, her voice full of hope. We will continue to protect the forest, and we will always be its guardians. Together, we will make sure the magic of this place never fades. The kittens, now filled with pride, nodded eagerly. They had learned the true power of love, courage, and unity, and they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Part 7. The Festival of the Forest. A time of healing. The forest had begun to heal, its once dimmed light now brighter and more vibrant than ever. The darkened grove, which had once been consumed by shadow and fear, had blossomed back into life. Tall trees with strong green leaves swayed in the wind, flowers bloomed with brilliant colors, and the birds' songs filled the air once more. The creatures of the forest, once silenced by the presence of the dark force, now thrived in the renewed peace. Mama Cat and her kittens wandered through the forest, their hearts light with joy as they marveled at the revival of the land. The air was sweet with the scent of fresh blooms, and the world around them hummed with the sounds of life. I can feel the forest magic growing stronger each day, Mama Cat said, her eyes glowing with pride. The Dreamy Waterfall's blessing is still with us, and the forest knows we are here to protect it. The kittens purred happily as they playfully chased each other through the grass. They had come so far on their journey, from the peaceful days of their home to the trials of the darkened grove. Now, they felt a sense of purpose deeper than ever before. But Mama Cat knew that the peace of the forest was something they would have to work to maintain. They could not rest, for nature had its own rhythms, sometimes fragile, sometimes resilient, but always in need of guardianship. The call of the festival. One day, as Mama Cat and her kittens wandered deeper into the forest, they came upon a small clearing. It was here that they had first encountered the magic of the Dreamy Waterfall, and now the space was alive with energy and excitement. Creatures from all over the forest had gathered here. It was the Festival of the Forest, an ancient tradition in which the animals and plants of the forest celebrated the renewal of life, the harmony of nature, and the magical energy that flowed through the land. The festival was a way for all creatures, big and small, to come together in gratitude for the magic that kept the forest alive. Mama Cat and her kittens watched in awe as the creatures danced and sang. The air was filled with joy as squirrels, rabbits, deer, and even the birds above joined in the festivities. The trees swayed with the rhythm of the celebration, and the flowers seemed to bloom even brighter, as if joining in the song. "This is amazing, Mama," one of the kittens exclaimed, their eyes wide with wonder. "The forest is alive with happiness." Mama Cat smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "Yes, little one, this is the magic of the forest, the spirit of life that flows through every leaf, every branch, every creature. And today, we celebrate that life, the gift of the forest." As the festival continued, Mama Cat and her kittens were invited to join the celebration. The creatures of the forest greeted them warmly, thankful for all they had done to help protect the grove and restore the balance of the forest. An elder owl, wise and gentle, approached Mama Cat. "You have brought peace to the forest, young guardian," the owl said. "Your actions have renewed the magic of the Dreamy Waterfall. But there is one more gift we would like to give you." The owl raised its wings, and from beneath them a small, glowing seed appeared. It sparkled with an ethereal light, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. "This seed represents the future of the forest," the owl explained. "It carries within it the power to continue the cycle of life, to help the forest grow and thrive for generations to come. It is yours to plant and care for." Mama Cat took the seed gently in her paws. The energy it radiated was soft but strong, like the heartbeat of the earth itself. "Thank you," Mama Cat said, bowing her head in gratitude. "We will protect this gift, just as we protect the forest." The importance of growth. After the festival, Mama Cat led her kittens to a quiet spot near the Dreamy Waterfall. The kittens looked at the glowing seed in wonder, their hearts full of curiosity. Mama, what will we do with the seed? Asked the smallest kitten. We will plant it here, Mama Cat replied, by the Dreamy Waterfall, where the magic is strongest. This seed will grow into a tree that will help the forest continue to flourish. But we must care for it, just as we care for the forest itself. We must nurture it with love and patience. The kittens watched as Mama Cat dug a small hole in the earth and placed the seed inside. They gently covered it with soil, their tiny paws working together to ensure it was safe. Now we wait, Mama Cat said softly. Just as we wait for the forest to grow, we wait for this seed to take root, and with time, it will bloom, bringing new life to the forest. The promise of the future. As the sun began to set, casting a warm golden light across the land, Mama Cat and her kittens sat by the newly planted seed. The air was calm, and the forest around them seemed to hum with a quiet energy. The forest is full of magic, little ones, Mama Cat said, her voice filled with reverence, and we are part of that magic. Every tree, every flower, every creature has its place in the cycle of life, and we, as guardians, must ensure that the cycle continues. We must care for the forest, not just today, but for all the days to come. The kittens nodded, their faces full of understanding. We will always protect the forest, Mama, one of them said, their voice full of determination. Yes, Mama Cat said, her eyes sparkling with love. Together, we will protect the forest and we will help it grow. This is our promise, and the promise of the Dreamy Waterfall. With the first stars appearing in the sky above, the family sat in peaceful silence, their hearts full of hope for the future. The forest was thriving, its magic restored, and with it, the bond between Mama Cat, her kittens, and the land they had sworn to protect. Part 8. The Guardian of the Sacred Tree. The Growing Tree. It had been several weeks since Mama Cat and her kittens had planted the magical seed by the Dreamy Waterfall. Every day they visited the spot, carefully tending to the young plant as it grew slowly but steadily. The forest around them continued to thrive, and the bond between the kittens and the land they had sworn to protect grew even stronger. One morning, as the sun's rays gently broke through the trees, Mama Cat and her kittens made their way to the sacred tree. To their delight, the seed had sprouted into a small but sturdy sapling. Its leaves shimmered in the soft light, and its roots seemed to reach deep into the earth, drawing strength from the magic of the Dreamy Waterfall. The tree is growing so quickly, Mama, one of the kittens exclaimed, its eyes wide with excitement. Look at how strong it is. Mama Cat smiled proudly as she gazed at the young tree. Yes, little one, the forest magic is flowing through it, helping it grow strong and tall. This tree will be a symbol of the forest's future, just as we are its guardians. The kittens danced around the tree, their laughter echoing through the forest. It was a moment of pure joy, and Mama Cat felt her heart swell with happiness. She knew that the forest was flourishing because of the love, care, and magic they had shared. The sacred tree's secret. As the days passed, the tree continued to grow taller, its branches spreading wide and its leaves shimmering like gold in the sunlight. One day, as Mama Cat and her kittens approached the tree, they noticed something unusual. At the base of the tree, a small glowing stone had appeared. It pulsed with a soft, rhythmic light like a heartbeat. Curious, Mama Cat stepped closer to the stone. What is this? She murmured, her voice filled with wonder. One of the kittens, ever curious, stepped forward and touched the stone gently with a paw. The moment it made contact, the tree seemed to shudder, and a soft, melodious hum filled the air. The glowing stone dissolved into the ground, and from within the tree a soft voice emerged, as gentle and ancient as the forest itself. You have cared for this land, young guardians, the voice said, but the forest magic is not endless. It must be nurtured and protected by those who understand its true power. The time has come for you to meet the guardian of the sacred tree. Mama Cat and her kittens exchanged puzzled glances. Guardian of the sacred tree? Mama Cat repeated. Who is this guardian? The voice spoke again, its tone calm and wise. I am the spirit of the sacred tree. I have watched over this forest for centuries, but I cannot protect it alone. The magic of the Dreamy Waterfall is powerful, but it requires the care of a true guardian known who can preserve the balance between life and the forces that seek to disrupt it. A new guardian appears. As the voice faded, the tree's trunk began to glow, and from its branches, a figure emerged. It was tall and regal, with fur that shimmered like the bark of the ancient trees. Its eyes glowed with a gentle yet powerful light, and its presence was both comforting and awe-inspiring. The figure stepped forward, and the kittens instinctively moved closer to Mama Cat. "I am the guardian of the sacred tree," the figure said, its voice warm and melodic. "I have been sent to guide you and help you fulfill your role as protectors of this forest." Mama Cat bowed her head in respect. "We are honored to meet you," she said, "but we are only guardians because the forest has given us its trust. What can we do to help you protect this sacred place?" The guardian smiled, its eyes full of wisdom. "The forest is filled with magic, but it is also vulnerable. There are forces beyond our control darkness that seeks to weaken the forest's power. You have done well in restoring balance, but the forest must continue to grow and thrive. Only by uniting with the forest's ancient magic can we ensure that the cycle of life remains intact." The guardian paused, allowing the words to sink in. "To do this, you must learn the true nature of the forest magic. You must connect with it, not just with your paws, but with your hearts." The test of the heart. The guardian motioned for Mama Cat and her kittens to gather around the tree. The kittens sat beside their mother, their faces full of curiosity. "You have already shown courage and love," the guardian said, "but now you must prove your heart's connection to the forest. The magic of the sacred tree flows through you, but it is not enough to simply care for the forest. You must become part of its essence." The guardian raised its paws, and a soft light surrounded the family. The tree's branches stretched high, its leaves glowing brightly. The air was filled with the sound of wind whispering through the leaves, and the ground beneath them seemed to pulse with life. "Close your eyes and open your hearts," the guardian instructed. Mama Cat, followed by her kittens, closed their eyes. They took a deep breath, feeling the soft hum of the earth beneath them. The warmth of the sunlight washed over them, and they felt the magic of the forest flow through their veins, connecting them to the trees, the plants, and the creatures that called the forest home. The guardian's voice echoed in their minds. "Now, feel the heartbeat of the forest. Feel its life, its magic. Connect with it and let it become part of you." For what seemed like hours, Mama Cat and her kittens remained in silence, their hearts open to the forest magic. They felt the ancient pulse of life that had sustained the land for centuries. They felt the love of the Dreamy Waterfall, the strength of the trees, and the wisdom of the animals. It was as if they had become one with the forest itself. The forest blessing. When Mama Cat and her kittens opened their eyes, they were filled with a deep sense of peace. The guardian stood before them, its eyes filled with pride. "You have done it," the guardian said softly. "You have connected with the forest magic. Now you are true guardians. The forest will always be with you, and you will always be its protectors." Mama Cat looked at her kittens, her heart full of love and pride. "We are one with the forest," she said. "Together, we will protect this land and all its creatures." The kittens, their eyes shining with newfound wisdom, nodded in agreement. "Together," they said in unison. With the forest blessing, the guardian of the sacred tree vanished into the light, leaving Mama Cat and her kittens alone with the tree. The air was still, and the trees around them swayed gently in the breeze. The magic of the sacred tree had been passed on to them, and they were now the true guardians of the forest. They had learned that their bond with the land was deeper than they had ever imagined, and they vowed to protect it with all their hearts. Part 9. The Shadow of the Forgotten. A peaceful time in the forest. With the blessing of the sacred tree, Mama Cat and her kittens embraced their new roles as guardians of the forest. They had become one with the land, connected deeply to the magic of the Dreamy Waterfall and the ancient forest that had nurtured them. Each day, they tended to the forest, helping creatures in need and ensuring that the balance of nature was maintained. The forest flourished under their care. The trees grew tall and strong, the rivers flowed crystal clear, and the animals lived in harmony with each other. The kittens played freely in the fields, their laughter echoing like music through the trees. The air was always fresh, filled with the sweet scent of flowers and the peaceful hum of life. Yet, deep within the heart of the forest, Mama Cat could feel a strange tension. It was subtle, like a faint chill on the breeze or a shadow that lingered at the edge of her senses. The forest was thriving, but Mama Cat knew that the peace they had fought so hard to protect could be threatened by forces unseen. A warning from the forest spirit. One day, as the family rested by the Dreamy Waterfall, a soft wind stirred the air. Mama Cat sat quietly, her tail curled around her kittens as they played nearby. The wind picked up, and with it, a familiar voice filled the air, the voice of the guardian of the sacred tree. "Mama, can you hear it?" one of the kittens asked, looking up at her. "It's the voice of the forest." Mama Cat nodded, her expression serious. "Yes, little one, the forest speaks to us when it needs help. We must listen carefully." The voice of the guardian echoed through the trees, a whisper carried on the wind. "Guardians, there is a shadow that stirs in the forgotten grove. It has been dormant for many years, but now it awakens. This shadow seeks to disrupt the balance of the forest. You must stop it before it spreads." Mama Cat's heart sank. The Forgotten Grove was a place in the forest that had long been abandoned, a dark and quiet area where little life grew. It was a place of forgotten memories, where old magic and secrets were buried deep beneath the soil. If something dark was stirring there, it could pose a great danger to the entire forest. "We will go to the Forgotten Grove," Mama Cat said firmly. "We will not let the shadow take hold of our home." The Forgotten Grove. The family set out immediately, their hearts filled with determination. The path to the Forgotten Grove was long and winding, leading them through dense thickets and over rivers that seemed to have no end. The deeper they went, the more the air grew still and heavy, as if the forest itself was holding its breath. When they finally arrived at the edge of the Forgotten Grove, Mama Cat stopped. The trees here were twisted and dark, their bark cracked and peeling, their branches bent in strange shapes. The ground was dry and cracked, and no birds sang here. The very air felt thick with a sense of loss, as though the forest had once been full of life, but had since been forgotten. "This place feels wrong," one of the kittens whispered, its eyes wide with unease. Mama Cat nodded solemnly. "The shadow that the guardian spoke of is here, and we must face it. But we must be brave. The forest needs us." The Shadow's Awakening. As they ventured deeper into the grove, the atmosphere grew colder. The shadows of the twisted trees seemed to reach out, and the light of the sun barely penetrated the thick canopy overhead. The forest was silent, save for the faint rustle of the wind and the soft patting of their paws on the dry ground. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew through the grove, and with it came a deep, hollow sound. The earth trembled beneath their paws, and the trees seemed to groan with an ancient pain. From the shadows, a figure emerged, a dark, swirling form that seemed to absorb all the light around it. Its eyes glowed with a fierce red light, and its presence was suffocating. "You have come," the shadow hissed, its voice like 1,000 whispers. "You cannot stop me. The forest belongs to me now." Mama Cat stood her ground, her fur bristling with defiance. "You are a threat to the balance of the forest. We will not allow you to take control." The shadow laughed, its voice like a storm. "The balance is fragile. It is too late to stop me. The Forgotten Grove has awakened, and with it, my power." The ground beneath them cracked open, and dark tendrils began to emerge from the earth, twisting around the trees and pulling at the roots. The forest was fighting back, but the shadow's strength was overwhelming. The heart of the forest. Mama Cat knew that they couldn't fight the shadow with force alone. The forest was alive with magic, but it needed the guardians to call upon its true power. She closed her eyes, focusing on the connection she shared with the sacred tree and the Dreamy Waterfall. She called out to the forest, to the ancient magic that flowed through every living thing. "By the magic of the Dreamy Waterfall, I call upon the strength of the forest," Mama Cat cried. "Let the light of the sacred tree banish this darkness." The earth trembled again, and the forest seemed to come alive. The trees groaned and stretched, their branches reaching toward the shadow. The roots of the sacred tree below them began to glow with an otherworldly light, and the tendrils of darkness that had begun to spread from the ground recoiled, as if burned by the magic of the tree. The shadow hissed in fury, its form flickering and faltering. "You think you can stop me? I am the forgotten force, the darkness that haunts this land. I will never be banished." But Mama Cat did not falter. "The forest belongs to all of us," she said firmly, "and as long as we stand together, no darkness can take it from us." With that, The magic of the dreamy waterfall surged through her, and with a final burst of light, the shadow shrieked and was consumed by the glow. The dark tendrils retreated, and the air cleared as the shadow dissolved into nothingness. The forgotten grove began to heal, its twisted trees slowly returning to their original form, and the light of the sun broke through the canopy, bathing the grove in a warm, golden glow, restoring balance. As the last remnants of the shadow disappeared, Mama Cat and her kitten stood in the now peaceful grove. The trees swayed gently, and the forest seemed to breathe a collective sigh of relief. "You have done it," the guardian's voice said, filled with pride. "The shadow is gone, and the balance has been restored. The forest is safe once again." Mama Cat nodded, her heart full of love for the land they had protected. "We will always stand guard over this forest," she said. "We are its guardians, and we will never let it fall into darkness." The kittens looked up at her, their eyes full of admiration and pride. "Together, we will keep the forest safe," one of them said. "Yes," Mama Cat replied, her voice filled with determination. "Together, we will protect the forest for all time." With the balance of the forest restored, Mama Cat and her kittens turned and walked back through the grove, their hearts light with hope for the future. The forest, once again at peace, would continue to thrive, thanks to their love, courage, and unwavering devotion. The dreamy journey of Mama Cat and her kittens. Epilogue. The everlasting guardianship. After the storm had been averted, and the heart of the forest restored, Mama Cat and her kittens stood tall, proud of what they had achieved. The forest was at peace once again, its vitality and magic now stronger than ever. The creatures of the land, from the tiniest ants to the largest trees, flourished in harmony. The wind spirit, its form now calm and serene, appeared before them once more. "You have done it," the wind spirit said. "The balance has been restored, and the forest is thriving. The forest will remember your courage, your love, and your unwavering dedication to protect it." Mama Cat nodded, her heart full of pride as she looked at her kittens. They had grown so much, not just in strength, but in spirit. They had learned that being guardians meant more than just protecting. It was about nurturing, listening, and caring for the forest, just as they had cared for one another. "We will always be here," Mama Cat said softly, her voice full of love. "The forest is our family, and as long as we stand together, it will remain safe." With that, the kittens purred, their hearts light and filled with hope for the future. They had learned the most important lesson of all, that the forest was alive, and it was their duty to care for it, to protect it, and to ensure that its magic would always remain strong. As the sun set over the forest, casting a golden glow across the land, Mama Cat and her kittens walked side by side, ready for whatever the future held. The forest was their home, and they were its eternal guardians.